Welcome to another episode of Profit Insights. I'm Dusty, and today we're diving into the latest global financial and economic developments. There's quite a bit to unpack from recent events, so let's get started with the big picture. The spotlight is on U.S.-China relations as both nations have announced plans to resume trade negotiations. This is a critical juncture as the talks have been a significant factor in the ongoing trade tensions. The United States will be represented by Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Chief Trade Negotiator Jamieson Greer, while China's top economic official, He Lifeng, will lead discussions from their side. They're all set to meet in Switzerland this weekend, aiming to navigate these turbulent waters. China isn't just sitting back, though. They've acted swiftly in response to these economic pressures. With measures like interest rate cuts and liquidity injections, they're boosting their economy in anticipation of the negotiations. How these talks pan out could be pivotal for the global market's direction. Switching gears slightly, the U.S. Federal Reserve has elected to maintain its current interest rates. Fed Chair Jerome Powell made it clear that any potential policy shifts would require greater clarity. Inflationary pressures, especially those linked to tariffs, add complexity to the financial landscape. Still, quantifying precisely how these elements interplay is challenging, which leaves questions about future rate adjustments. Now, let's talk about how the markets are responding. Reactions have been mixed as investors tread cautiously. The news of resumed trade talks and China's stimulus efforts has sparked hope, yet caution prevails. The U.S. dollar continues its downward trend, with stock movements reflecting a variety of changes. Overlaying these economic shifts is a rise in geopolitical tensions, particularly following India's military strikes against Pakistan. This development has understandably stirred regional concerns and contributed to the overall market unease. In Europe, political developments are stirring up their own complex mix of emotions. In Germany, Friedrich Merz's election as chancellor after a challenging second round of votes has added another layer of uncertainty. This political shift is contributing to market jitters as investors weigh the implications of new leadership in one of the EU's key economies. Turning to economic forecasts, Ireland's finance ministry has delivered some sobering news. If the U.S. keeps its 10% tariff on European Union imports, Ireland's economic growth could slow to 2% in 2025. However, there's a glimmer of optimism. Should these tariffs be lifted, their growth could climb back up to 2.5%. Given Ireland's significant ties to U.S. multinational firms, these tariffs could have profound implications for their economic health. As we look ahead, all eyes are on upcoming U.S. corporate earnings reports and crucial economic data releases. These figures will be instrumental in painting a clearer picture of the economic landscape and guiding investment strategies moving forward. Investors will be scrutinizing these data points to gauge the health of the economy and anticipate potential market directions. Before we wrap up, here are a few investment tips to keep close at heart. Stay informed about geopolitical developments, as these can have rapid ripple effects on markets. Consider diversification to mitigate risks, especially in these uncertain times. And always, conduct your due diligence when assessing market trends. That's it for today's deep dive into the sprawling world of finance and economics. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Profit Insights. Remember, as always, when the dust settles, only the truth remains. Until next time, stay thoughtful and stay informed.